Now, ever since the debut of SNL's 50th anniversary, which by the way included Tom Hanks and his portrayal of a Trump supporter that truly backfired not just on NBC and the showrunners handling SNL, but also on Tom Hanks' career to the point that he had to actually disable Instagram comments on his Instagram account. That's how bad the backlash really is right now with Tom Hanks. He is bleeding millions upon millions of fans day by day that no longer support his past work or even his upcoming work when it comes to the film industry. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, I've said this once and I'll say it again. What he did on SNL portraying a Trump supporter was nothing more than an agenda disguised as comedy. I mean, that is pretty much apparent. It's very vivid. It is very much obvious at this point that that's exactly what was going on. And we already know that Tom Hanks went into full-on damage control mode twice to really kind of water down the backlash. It failed. Nothing is going to water down the backlash when it comes to what he did on SNL. Now, we have a lot more personalities and celebrities beginning to come forward and calling out Tom Hanks, and rightfully so. This is where things begin to get interesting. Now, we already had Mel Gibson putting him in the hot seat. We also had even Bill Maher calling out Tom Hanks, and now we have comedian Ricky Gervais really going all out on Tom Hanks. Now, you guys may recall back in 2020 when Ricky Gervais started it all. It all started with Ricky when he called out celebrities for what they're really all about and who they really are. It really all began with Gervais. However, this is where it really gets interesting because we have Ricky Gervais really kind of calling out the entire situation, the concept of comedy, and how it's really getting way too political now, and more. However, with the Tom Hanks backlash only getting worse over time, ever since he played a Trump supporter on SNL's 50th anniversary, more personalities and celebrities have been coming forward to call out Tom Hanks. Now, the latest being Ricky Gervais, who recently went on an unexpected rant about Tom Hanks, politics, and SNL. Gervais delivered the following. You know, the common saying that sometimes jokes aren't just jokes, and that there is something else going on behind that joke, or whatever comedy is being put on live television, well, that's what we just witnessed with Mr. Hanks, and so Tom decided to play a Trump supporter on SNL's 50th. Did you happen to catch that? It didn't go so well now, did it? You see, this is what happens when celebrities just can't let go of their politics, and networks can't also let go of their politics. It just eats at them to even ignore their own politics. They have to express their politics because it makes them feel important. Now look, Tom is a great actor, but when you take a close look at him as a person, well, I think that there is something else going on over there. As a comedian, you want your jokes to come from a good place, not from a bad place, not to purely attack. And I think that's what we just witnessed on SNL. It was nothing more than an insult toward tens of millions of Americans and people that live in the States. I mean, don't you realize how rubbish that is? So Tom, I know your feelings got hurt for being called out, so I would like to give you a tissue. Here you go, Mr. Hanky. Look, this is another example of how celebrities just can't take the heat. His social media was disabled for a while, and it may very well still be. But what we really actually need to work on is comedy, because it's those over at NBC that I believe are completely misguided and incompetent when it involves how they define comedy. Look, I think political comedy has grown very tiresome, not just for Americans, but for everyone around the globe. People just don't want to actually hear it anymore, and as a comedian myself, I know my boundaries. I know when things are overdone, and so I adapt. It seems SNL just does not want to get with the program, and does not want to adapt. I mean, more often than not, it is political rubbish. I mean, did you see what happened to Joy Reid at MSNBC? People are tired of both celebrity politics and the media's politics, and we are seeing this all work in motion before our very own eyes right now, after what Tom Hanks did and how he portrayed tens of millions of Americans, and it's just unacceptable. Now guys, let me just stop here about what Ricky Gervais is pointing out. Now, I kind of like how he points him out as Mr. Hanky there, but what's interesting about this is that we know that Tom Hanks is very thin-skinned, obviously, because he had to disable Instagram comments. Now, I checked again today. I like to check it daily. It's still disabled as of today, February 26th of 2025. And that's really, you know, I think very much obvious to the point that he knows what he did. SNL clear out knows what they did. NBC surely knows what they did, to the point that Lorne Michaels, the executive producer and creator of SNL, really had to take action against Tom Hanks. He had to slash and cancel so many other skits that Tom Hanks was supposed to do. We talked about this. You guys may or may not have heard this, but he was supposed to do 10 other variants of a Trump supporter through different comedy sketches on SNL throughout the remainder of 2025. Those are no longer happening. Other political comedy sketches are also getting canceled for Tom Hanks. It's not looking good for him. It's not looking good for SNL and NBC. They are bleeding fans right now. I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that actually are big fans of SNL over the years, and they are now just flat out denying them to actually, refuse to actually take part in their comedy anymore, to watch their material. They want nothing to do with SNL ever again. And that is a very big reason, right? Everything that happened with Tom Hanks, that was their big reason as to why they left SNL. They will never tune in again after that. So Ricky Gervais, I think, is very much on point. Political comedy is just getting very tired. It's getting very much overdone because it's not coming from a good place. It's always coming from a bad place. Coming from a place to purely insult the American people, for the most part. Now, he goes on to conclude, maybe have an actual comedian do this next time. Do your job and stick to acting, please, Tom, because that's where you belong. You know it, and I know it as well, that actors need to stay in their lane. Let the comedians handle the comedy. It's about time that these networks get with the program and smell the coffee in the morning. It's time to shape up now or never, because people will leave you and never return. I promise you that, NBC. You need to listen now. Stay out of politics that come across as actual attacks on the public and insults toward them. This is not comedy. This is your ideology under the camouflage as comedy. And that's another interesting thing that Ricky pointed out there, is that he discusses how this is basically their ideology under camouflage as comedy. I kind of said something similar, where this is basically an agenda disguised as comedy. There's nothing, SNL can do right now to reverse what they did during the 50th anniversary. And sure, you're going to have a lot of people that are not going to be offended by this, that actually found it very funny. And you know what? That's fine. It's a free country. Express your thoughts about that below in the comments. But I will give out my part. I thought it came from a terrible place by SNL and NBC. We know that Tom Hanks knows that he actually made a very big mistake. And this is really backfiring on his career. It's backfiring on his image as an actor. A lot of people are just abandoning ship. They want nothing to do with him anymore, especially when it comes to his upcoming movies and or material. That's not going to work at all in the long run. That's exactly why Lorne Michaels, the board of directors over at NBC as well, had to step in and take action against Tom Hanks. We talked about that a couple of days ago. Again, Ricky Gervais, like I said, it all started back in 2020 when he pointed out how flawed celebrities are, and how really just, quite frankly, how they are just a bunch of liars, and how everything that they do comes from a very bad place. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.